Using LinkedIn. Got it. Using LinkedIn. We're going to use LinkedIn to network. Now, I understand that in the last month or so, there were other speakers who talked a lot about LinkedIn. And that's wonderful because there is so much to learn about LinkedIn that it's impossible to cover it in one short session. So, but those folks focus on what your profile should look like, how you should set it up, how you go about creating a marketing brand. All of those are critical elements. I have speeches on that too, presentations. Today, we're going to focus on one specific aspect of LinkedIn, and that is how to use LinkedIn for networking. Okay, so I always start with this. Like Michael, I always have a set of slides that I go to all the time. My first question to you all, I want you to unmute yourself and tell me, is it true or false that job postings are a great way to get a new job?
False. True. False.
Oh, you have a divided opinion in this room. False, false, false. Actually, it is not true. That is not true. Yeah, we're gonna bust that myth.
Way to start.
Yeah, it really is. They're a terrible way to find a job. You have about a 4 to 9% chance of getting a job from the candidate's perspective through a job posting. However, we're going to look at some other statistics. The odds of getting, I just answered that question. See, the odds of getting a job from online job posting are 5 to 9%. Usually I say 4 to 9 in this group because we have so many people who are much more experienced. If you go to the lower end of that spectrum, it's just not going to happen if you want an executive level or even a mid-management level job. But we have some other things that I want to ask. What percentage of candidates receive no feedback whatsoever? And you guys are all candidates. So what has been your experience with this?
Just from they submit their application and then crickets?
Crickets? Everybody getting
I would
crickets?
say 75%.
80.
Wow.
Yeah, no, you're
90%.
yeah, I know it is. That is exactly what it feels like. Now, these folks at the talent board where I got this information said 54%, and I suspect that's companies answering that because I think it's baloney. I think it's closer to 75 to 90% of people receive nothing, total crickets, which is another reason why the job posting system is not set up for candidates. It is not in your best interest. That doesn't mean don't do it. That means do it in conjunction with networking. So what are the odds of getting a job from networking? What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, that really depends on what is networking, because that can mean just anything at this point.
Significantly higher.
It is significantly higher. The odds are greater than 60% that you're going to get a job from someone you know, or someone you meet, someone you get to know, someone who introduces you to someone who could be helpful. This is the way to do it. Okay, so I just have one other statistic here before I jump right into this. I mean, I am totally aware that the Browns are playing. What percentage of jobs are not posted online? This will blow your mind.
80 to 90% are not posted.
They are not posted. It's actually greater than 60%. So you're not wrong on that. Yeah. So if you're looking at job postings only, exclusively, then your chances are 4 to 5 to 9%. But you're not even looking at the full array of job opportunities that are available because they're not posted somewhere. They're only available from people you know or people you meet. And that's where we're going to come into our discussion today.
Excuse me, how recent is that data?
About 3 or 4 years ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago, somewhere in there. It was before 20. I created this presentation for you somewhere around 2020. Yeah.
Do you think that's higher now?
Do I think that it's
Lower.
I think that there are a significant number of jobs. I don't want to go just on anecdotal information,
Right.
but even among my clients, they'll say, I've known any number of clients who go to a meeting just to meet someone and have coffee. And the person will say, you know, I've been thinking about this. So it's I've been thinking about this situation that counts in this statistic. And I think that's why it's so high. Yeah. Yeah,
True.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and from an HR perspective, we know this is true because we didn't post everything.
Well,
We-
you don't want to, right? I mean,
No.
once you post a job, then your onslaught of interviews and
That's
calls
right.
and everything else. And if you know
Yes.
somebody and you know there's a position coming available, it would be a lot better to just make the match. wouldn't
The
it?
risk to an employer for hiring someone from an online posting is significant. I believe I own the award for the most expensive bad hire from a job posting. Yeah, so not in my department, but I was there, so it counts. But so you want to do everything possible to do your networking. But what does that mean? That means that this networking is so critical. Now, we're not going to do a breakout, but what we want to talk about is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a method of finding and being found. Now, the previous presentations hopefully talked about being found, that element of how do you have your keywords organized, how findable is your profile, all right? We're going to talk more about finding, that is the other end of it. And these are the items we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about having a strategy, creating a job search marketing plan, and then networking. I am a firm believer, who's our process improvement person? I am a process improvement person, Michelle. I'm an HR green belt. And that's, I think that the planning and preparation is significant. And so that's why we're going to spend about half of our time talking about the preparation, and then we're going to go in and wander around in LinkedIn. So what you want to do is think about a company you want to talk about, because I'm going to call on someone, so you might as well volunteer. So the first step is to have a plan. You cannot be all things to all people. If you want to be found, you have to have your profile set up, built around a goal. This is absolutely critical. Even when you're networking, they're going to be looking at you. Everyone is looking at your profile. They're making comments, they're making judgments, they're making observations based on what they see in your profile. So that's why that other person who talked spent so much time on what it should look like. But when we want to use LinkedIn to find, we're going to create lists of target companies. We want to network with target people inside target companies. Building relationships, that is our goal. It's not just about having coffee with someone you used to work with, although that is one of the elements of networking that's not to be ignored. But we're going to try to find new people to talk to in the target companies that we want to go work at. This is being much more aggressive. All right, I got to do this. So your profile reflects what you want and why you should have it. Answering the questions, the unstated questions of the viewer, so that they look at your profile and they say, oh, this is interesting. When we just had a moment like that in the advisors meeting this afternoon, where one of the new advisors came up to me and said, oh, you went to Northwestern. And then we had a whole long conversation. She's the best buddy now. That's how this thing works. 3 ideas. Number 1, be specific about your goal. Can't say this enough. I've got entire presentations on this subject alone. You can't be all things to all people. Enough said. Idea number 2 is be aware that LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's a social platform. It runs on search engine optimization. So in my former life, I was an HR executive. But as a job seeker, I'm a marketing person in disguise. Okay. Everyone in this room is a marketing person. We must understand that LinkedIn runs on search engine optimization. That's the way you set up your profile so that you can be found, and the way that you make comments in LinkedIn so that you can rise up in the circuit. Okay. All right. And then optimize your profile for SEO around the goal. So hopefully the last guy talked about that. Did they?
Oh, not really.
No. Okay. So know your keywords. So as an HR person, my keywords were change, process improvement, talent development, words like that. And so those words ought to be sprinkled liberally on my profile. As the interview doctor, my keywords are job, search, career, coach, perhaps resume. Those words appear in my profile between 30 and 50 times. That's how dense it is. Where people look at my profile, they know exactly what I offer. So this is what's meant by optimization. Keyword density, that's where knowing your keywords. So like Rod, yours would be executive, manufacturing, technology, those process improvement, business results, those kinds of words better be in your profile at least 20 times, okay? And which gets to these other things like personal brand and accomplishments, which everybody talks about, which is terribly important. So what are you willing to do to get what you want is your plan. So let's turn to the concept of a job search marketing plan. I used to think I invented this concept, but I don't think I did. But I think that everything ought to be done on a plan. I have a plan for my entire life. I mean, this is my plan for how I'm going to become a better person. I mean, I track everything. And I think everyone should be tracking certain specific goals. So let's talk about that. This is the who, what, when, where, and why. Now, if we know that job postings are not a very good use of your time, then you need to limit the amount of time that you work on job postings. So for example, you get up in the morning, check the ads, find a few you like, create a quick cover letter, send off your resume. That's it, you're done. 1 hour, that's it. That means you have the rest of the day to devote to networking. And so we define what this might mean. Researching companies from those ads. So you can turn an ad, a job ad, into a networking experience. You can find a few people, read profiles, research your target companies, but that's how you divide your day by effectiveness. Then you set goals and you get to reward yourself. Because believe it or not, your ultimate goal is finding a job, but that might not happen tomorrow. And so if it doesn't happen tomorrow, are you going to feel like a failure? So you need to set these goals about how many companies are you going to research? How many job ads are you going to send out? How many invitations to connect? Okay. So 20% of your time on networking, on ads, and recruiters fit in this category as well, because you could have a recruiter campaign, but it's a one and done. You send out, you talk to a recruiter, you hang up, and they'll come back to you if they need you. So it's not a long-term strategy. It might be for a CEO, perhaps, maybe some C-suite people, but still, if they want you, they'll find you. The rest of the time, those are the items that you need to be working on to spend your time effectively networking, okay? Okay. LinkedIn can help you with all of those things. Isn't that great? It's just so great. One tool gets you all of these wonderful ways of operating. Okay. So these are some of the ways LinkedIn fits in. You could do so much on there, right? Do you know that I do these kinds of speaking engagements all the time, probably once a month at various organizations. Out of every 10 people that are in the audience, I might be lucky enough to get one invitation to connect. Isn't that crazy? One, maybe. I already did get one. Thank you, Brett. We'll talk. Reach out to everyone that you meet and send them an invitation to connect and talk. So that leads us into the meat of our discussion. Without those first two ideas, knowing what you want and creating a plan, you're not going to be able to get the most out of LinkedIn. But we're going to go right into LinkedIn now. We know that LinkedIn is about networking, but there's two sides to this story. Your profile is a platform designed to attract an audience. If you have your keywords right, your views can be 60, 100, 150, 200 views in a period. Those are part of the analytics. That's in the left panel on your homepage. So if that is a platform, but the companies also have company pages, and those are a platform that they create so that they can talk to you. They want to talk to you. So keep that in mind. So here are some best practices. The bottom line is don't sell. Don't start out with, hey, my name's Katherine, I'm looking for a job in HR. So if we did that, if I said, Michael, I'm looking for a job in HR, do you know of any?
My answer is no,
And then what do we talk about after that?
nothing.
Nothing. You just go away. And you've wasted an opportunity.
Mhm.
It's very sad. It really is. People do that to me all the time. Katherine, you know any jobs in HR? Yeah, no. Okay, but you could have a half an hour conversation with me if you asked me about LinkedIn or about networking or about all sorts of other
Or
things.
Northwestern.
Or
I mean,
Northwestern. We did. We had a,
you guys
We-
were both friends.
We saw that.
we saw it. You saw it in action. The lady found a nice topic that I would love to talk about right here in this room. And we talked for 15 minutes about Northwestern, where I went to college. So we want to give them a reason to talk to you. So that's why your profile needs to be kind of robust. And you want to think about asking pro to pro. You want to talk pro to pro, professional to professional, as if you're colleagues, because you are. The job search process, unfortunately, is just it's just set up so that makes people feel subservient. It's like, please, sir, may I have a job? And that's a horrible feeling. I mean, believe me, I've been laid off 6 of the 7 jobs I've had, or 4 other reasons why I had to leave. And I know that feeling. So if you stay professional to professional, talking about the very interesting stuff that you know, the questions that you can ask people who are similarly situated, then you will be building relationships, just as I did today with Stephanie. So talking pro to pro begs the question of what can you ask? Well, you can find information all sorts of places on what to ask. What you want to do is craft an invitation to connect that has an interesting question in it. It's got to be good. It's got to be something that will drag that person away from their busy life to talk to you. So it can't be about your job search, probably can't be about you. We're going to demonstrate what this might be. But if you look in their profile, you'll be able to potentially see some really cool stuff. And you could say, huh. So this is where I tell the story about Teresa. When I wanted to meet Teresa, I wanted to sell her something. And everyone said, you can't get a meeting with Teresa. And I said, So I looked on her LinkedIn profile and I saw that she liked scuba diving. I said, click, click, click. I like scuba diving. What's your favorite place? She gave me a meeting. We exchanged emails on inside LinkedIn messaging. Oh, my favorite place is here. She had been to the Red Sea. I had been to the Great Barrier Reef. We talked about which was better. And I want to go to the Red Sea. And I said, this conversation is so interesting. I would like to meet. I can bring my pictures. And so sure enough, I toddled over to her office with my picture album and she took a meeting with me and she gave me some work, the contract. This works, this technique works, and I've used it myself. So if you're going to take any notes at all today, write this down. So this is the process. You start with the company page. This is where you can access people. We're going to demonstrate this. But I want you to write this down or take a screenshot or something. We're going to use the advanced search keywords to find the hiring manager, not HR. Unless you're in HR, you do not talk to HR. All right. Then you're going to send them an invitation to connect with an interesting question, a curious question. Through LinkedIn messaging, you're going to have a conversation if you can. And then you're going to ask for coffee. Coffee is job search gold. This is our job search currency. This is measurable. For our process-oriented friends in the audience, if you're gonna measure something, measure coffee. Okay, measure coffee. So far, so good? All right, let's talk about coffee. Because I got numbers, because I'm a process-oriented individual. I like numbers. This is kind of anecdotal. These statistics do not come from a book. But I've checked with other people who do what I do, and for the most part, this seems to work. It's worked for I've had like 600 or 700 clients over the last 12 years, and this sort of works. For every 10 LinkedIn invitations you send out with an interesting question in it, about 7 or 8 people will accept your invitation to connect. 3 or 4 of those people will have a conversation with you on LinkedIn messaging. They'll answer your question. You'll respond. It'll be a little bit of a parry kind of a discussion. Okay. But remember, not all 10 of them are going to talk to you. And for every, so out of those 3 or 4, 1 person will agree to have coffee. So it's not a lot. Right. So if you want to have, so your goal that you can set for yourself in a week, you can say, I want to have X number of coffees, because that means that I need to do this kind of work to generate X number of coffees. So I had a client once. He was he was the owner of a business, and he wanted to go into a company his business was closing. And I said, we did this whole thing. I've been doing this for a while. I said, how many coffees do you want to have? He says, I want to have 10 coffees a week. I said, dude, you're crazy. And then I said, okay, let's just work the math. How many invitations do you have to send out with interesting questions? He says 100. I said, it's your goal. I don't care. I mean, I don't care. I don't know if it were me, how many I would do. So a month later, he sent out 100 invitations a week. He had coffee all over the place. He knew everybody. It took more than a month, but by the end of 6 months, I think it was, he was now a consultant, because he'd met everybody. And he was a fully functioning consultant where he could pay his mortgage from his consulting business. So that's not the only guy that I know that this works, but it is true. So I had one client who said, I tried it. I sent out 3 or 4 invitations and it didn't work. Don't come back to me with that, because that's not enough. Okay. It didn't work after 3 or 4, because it's the kind of a rule of large numbers. So this is part of what you want to decide. So what do you think happens at coffee meetings, guys?
Sit there and stare at each other.
Drink coffee, talk about the kids, scuba diving, show pictures.
Show pictures. I talked about Northwestern. Actually,
Interesting conversation.
You navigate, you get to know each other, context to context to context to context.
you're talking professional to professional. You're
Yeah.
building a relationship, and you're talking pro to pro. And this is so valuable. It might as well be a job interview, given that we know how many jobs are not posted. So now, with all that, okay, pretty good, doing pretty good. All right. Now let's go in and walk around. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go in and we're gonna show how this works. Now, this is the active participation point of our adventure today. So what I want to do is invite someone. Does anybody have a company they've been trying to get into and we could use as an example? You know, I was hoping you would say that because you're not the only one who wanted Ernst & Young, and that's a good idea. You know, if sometimes someone will suggest a really teeny weeny company, and that's fun, but a big company.
And the only reason I say it is because you constantly get emails or LinkedIn suggestions or Indeed matches and say, like, you got all the qualifications.
Yeah.
You're all there.
Yeah.
Then you send all that stuff in.
And nothing happens.
Or you get the automatic kickback within 2 hours.
Well, or 2 minutes, you
Or
know,
whatever.
that is
Yeah.
all, you want to talk about artificial intelligence, that's all artificial intelligence, the whole operation.
You know, there's sites now asking you if you want to opt out of that. I don't know if it happens.
I
or
don't
not,
know.
But I've applied to a few, you can opt out.
That would be very
Which-
good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go look at Ernst and Young. So, so what we're gonna do, we're on my home page. So everything is gonna come from my LinkedIn's view of my perspective, okay? So what I wanna do is go up to this big white box in the upper left-hand corner, and I wanna look up Ernst and Young. Okay. Now LinkedIn is going to be very helpful in all things. They are very helpful. So here's EY, that's them. Company professional service. We want their company website, their company LinkedIn profile rather. So let's view page. Okay, now this is all propaganda, which is very useful. I'm not saying that in a bad way. You should read all of this. You should read about them. You should look at their videos. Every company puts them up, or a lot of companies do. You should look at the pictures that are put in their videos, in their photographs, in their because it gives you an idea of what it's like to work at that company. So now there's a couple things that I want to do before looks like I'm following them. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know I was, but you can unclick it and unfollow. Nobody will bother. That's okay. That's interesting. I must have just as easy to turn it on. All right. But there's another thing. You see up here where it says building a better world, a hashtag better world, professional services, London, 8,163,831 followers. See that?
Yeah.
Okay. There, and the number of employees is 368,859 employees. There's always some sort of a 10-to-1 relationship or greater between the number of employees and the number of followers. Very interesting. Now, if a company is smart, and I think Ernst and Young is smart, they will be using their followers as an applicant pool. So follow them and they might go look. Now there's another thing that's really interesting about this. If you go up here, where is it? Down here. Here. You see where it says about? Let's click on the about page in the company profile. And if you scroll down, LinkedIn figured out that this is how big companies were using it. And so they put this button right out there for everyone to see. So if you're interested in working for Ernst & Young, EY rather, click on I'm interested. Okay, write that down, everybody. Actually, I learned that at one of these meetings a few months ago. I thought that this is a newer addition this year to LinkedIn. So what I want to do now is I want to click on the number of employees. This is a clickable link. You see it turned blue. It is a clickable link. And this opens up 350,000 people. Well, that is way too many for us to care about. Now, in terms of we gotta divide that up. We gotta chunk that down. You'll notice here that the top people in mine are talent or HR related. And that's because LinkedIn will sort this list based on who they think you'll be interested in. So your lists are going to be different than mine. So, but I want to direct your attention up here to this bar here where it says people, current company, connections, locations, all filters. Okay, now, one of the things that we could do right away, I don't want to deal with connections right now. I just want to, that is something we can do, but I want to look at location because this pool is so big and we're in Cleveland, Greater Cleveland. So let's see how many people work in Greater Cleveland. This used to be the headquarters for that business. My first husband wanted us to move here to take a job with him. And I said, no, I would never in a million years live in Cleveland. I love it here. Different guy. That made the difference. So let's show results. There are about too much information. About 1,100 people work for EY in Northeast Ohio. That is that is very nice to know. It's a hub. Okay, that's a hub. So, but that's still too big of a number. So Andrew, what would be the title of the boss of the person that would hire you? What do you think that would be?
For the person that would hire me.
Yeah.
I would assume they would have a partner title in there.
Okay,
I would assume in the assurance group. In some
Okay.
sort of like, financial planning or financial services.
all right, cool. This is an important thing. If you're gonna be doing this, you need to think in terms of who's gonna be the hiring manager. We can reach out to lots of people, but we wanna think about the hiring manager because that's the person who's gonna can make a decision about you. So we're gonna go up here to all filters, because we gotta make it 1100 is too many. So I would direct your attention to this.
And if I,
Yeah,
just interrupt you right
yeah, yeah.
here. I'm sure like, I'm not the only eyes who went down to number 4 and thought, we wanna connect with them.
I
Katie,
see number 4.
Recruiting, operations, talent, attraction. Which one?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what happens when you go to HR? Does anybody who's not in HR wanna,
I imagine a lot of people go into HR
Yeah.
and they just get overwhelmed and then, you become that
It's-
needle in the
Yeah,
haystack.
like
there.
submitting a job posting.
it'd be the same, Now, if you submit a job posting and that job posting says Joe Smith submitted this posting, you should reach out and connect to Joe Smith and say hello, because Joe Smith wants you to do that. But in this case, unless you're in HR, that person doesn't want to talk to you. No offense, Michael, but HR people are some of the most unfriendly people that you're ever going to try to network with. So they're not.
Ouch, that hurt.
Sorry.
Not you.
I was
Sorry.
different than that. I was different. than that.
You were different, I was different, but most of them don't really have time for you or
But this
me.
person is in talent acquisition, so
It's possible.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part.
It's
like
possible
she
that
should
that
be
could
wanting
make
to
her
talk to
different, yeah.
every damn day.
She should want to.
You should be thanking the Lord that we're in contact.
My experience with TAs has been like, they are the front.
Mm-hmm.
They screen and they go through it and they pick out of 140. And then it goes to another desk
Right, they're the gatekeeper. in
Yeah.
a way.
to, basically, they make the selection for the hiring managers. Hey, when you have time, take a look at all these
Yeah,
Right.
right, yeah,
resumes that I just figured that would be best out of what I've reviewed.
yeah.
And then that's why
And
the
they
hiring
say,
manager
"No,
is key.
I'll go to
Because
That's
somebody that I
exactly
know."
right.
you get to the person
Yes.
that ultimately has the time in mind, has the skills that he or she's looking
Yeah.
for.
Right.
And it's about more pointed, more
And they likely will have no idea that you've submitted a resume.
Right.
correct.
But the other really important thing about that is if you can develop a relationship with the hiring manager, or if they can see how the skills that you have and you make some connection with them, they're gonna go to the HR person, and even if that HR person screened you out originally,
Right.
they're
put
gonna
it back
say,
on the
hey,
radar.
I wanna talk
That's
to
right.
Rob.
That's
Go to the top of the pile. This is the way around that job posting system.
Right.
You go to the top of the pile. Who's our other HR person here? Maria, right?
Right,
Maria, if
yes,
the if the CEO comes to you and says, interview this person, what do?
interview
You
them.
interview them.
Maria's like, is this a trick question?
No, it's like, well, maybe people don't know, but
And it doesn't even have to be the CEO. I mean, it could
It's
be any
anyone.
of your business partners, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they say, hey, look, I met this individual, they got good qualifications. I wanna see him on the candidate slate.
Yeah, they go on the candidates like. So I want to stay away from HR. People who are in HR, like Maria, those are the folks, and she speaks their language. So she would be able to get that's a different,
Yeah.
it's a different animal. So let's go into this all filters and let's see if we can't, first of all, let's look for a partner, okay? So we're gonna go all the way down. Look at, this is where they used to work. They take them from Key
Oh,
Bank,
maybe
Cleveland
find a
Clinic.
School, maybe you have
Yeah.
to share an alma mater.
Maybe you do,
Yep.
you know, like, look at the conversation I had with Stephanie at about
See
Northwestern.
if anybody's there from Northwestern.
You think? Yeah,
You're in like Flint.
yeah. And so we're gonna scroll all the way down to where it says keywords, first name, last name, title, company, school. I got to tell you that this company, LinkedIn, is owned by Microsoft, and this is the extent of your search capabilities. Anyway, let's type in this box, partner, because this is the only place you can do that.
I think I got it because I'm an SEO. The joke landed with me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not very.
No,
SEO friendly.
it's not very friendly. This is not a good, but look at that. There are 52 partners, EW partners. I mean, telling you, this is a hub for them. There are 52 EY, boy, I'm saying, sorry, EY partners. And so one of the things that you could do is you could try to meet all 52 of those people if you wanted to. And because they're not sitting around a water cooler saying, hey, do you hear from that crazy Katherine? Yeah, I heard from her. Let's deal with her. They're not. So they're each in 52 individual opportunities to get someone to talk to you. All right. To get someone with whom you can build a relationship. And so look, if you were to do that in a week, that'd be 50 invitations, potentially 5 coffees. I don't know. But of the ones that we can see at the top, is there anybody right there that you'd like to talk to? Look at the pick. Does somebody look interesting?
Well, you have 8 mutual connections with Dan Tompkins, so you
I
guys are
do.
practically friends already.
Well, let's look at Dan then. Let's see what he is. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Oh, doesn't he look nice?
He does look nice.
Nice smile.
Yeah, great
good
suit,
picture.
but not a tie, so it's very approachable.
And this is where we get to be snarky about profiles. There's no background photo.
No.
He's not as caring about establishing a brand. That's interesting. But he does have 1,200 followers. And so he's likely to talk to you. That means he's using LinkedIn on a regular basis. If he had 200 followers, your chances of getting a response would be lower. Now, let's look and see who are my mutual connections, because, you know, that'd be a place to go. You could talk to those people too. This guy's fabulous. I don't know if you know him. Yeah, he's great, Willery. You know, there's some really interesting people. On Michael Siegel, he runs a job search club in Akron. Good guy. And you see, this is where somebody said, oh, I met her at a speaking engagement, this judge. So anyway, that's just interesting. Those are people that you can talk to as well, giving you some other ideas. But let's look at Dan. So he lives in Akron. Let's see. He doesn't post very frequently, but his last post regarded mergers and acquisition benefits, balancing M&A benefits. So you could read that article and see something to talk about with him. He doesn't have much in description. Okay, so he's clearly been at EY for a long time, or at least he thinks that 8 years is a long time. And as a partner, he's not going anywhere. He doesn't have to worry. So he doesn't have to use his LinkedIn profile in the way that we do as job seekers. He went to Miami University. He's an accountant. Did some grid. Oh, he was part of Leadership Akron. That's interesting. Could probably think of some questions about that in the class of 35, class of 2019. Okay, so he doesn't have a lot in there, but if you were going to think of something, what would you ask him about, Andrew?
Well, I would probably start with some sort of, it always seems like Miami folks like love each other.
Yeah.
My wife went to Miami and she was
There
at
you go.
Leadership Akron.
Not
Not in that specific class, but
That'd be
it
a
would be a
good,
conversation of,
yeah.
you know, hey, my wife's in Leadership Akron, you know, I'm starting to think about something along those lines. you know, I'd like to get a unbiased view. Is there a time that we could meet, we could chat about your experience?
So I love that idea. I think that would work because of the very limited amount of information he puts in his profile, he's got that. So that's clearly something important to him. I would encourage you to use the LinkedIn messaging and put it in here instead of asking for a meeting right away. So, oh, by the way, hold that thought, put a pin in that. There is no ability for me to send an invitation. What do we do?
It's under more probably.
It's under more. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. It is under more. If you don't see it there, it doesn't mean anything bad. It just means in 2016, LinkedIn decided to hide it. That's when that started.
Yeah, I think that's consistent. That's,
So
I don't ever see connection, rarely.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that
it's
funny?
hidden.
Sometimes I see it.
Yeah, sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
So you would like to add a note, and then if you add your note about leadership background, about Miami, your wife at Miami, and you ask that question just the way you said it, very, very well stated, and then wait for him to respond. And if he responds, then do it in LinkedIn messaging first.
Okay.
After 3 or 4 exchanges in messaging, the other person will feel safe that they're not wasting their time. That he doesn't know you. Whoops, sorry. Oh. Sorry, go away. Go away. Anyway, he doesn't know you. So he might not want to waste he might think it's wasting his time. I don't think it's wasting time. I think it'd be lovely to talk to you about that. But give him an opportunity by discussing this in LinkedIn messaging. And then after 3 or 4 exchanges, then you say, can we have coffee?
So I've done this before to, I put in a lovely note, about 300 characters in an invitation. And then I won't get a response to the note. I'll just get someone accepting my
Yes.
invitation.
Yes.
And it'll be like, well, wait a minute, why didn't you respond to my
Because-
note? And I realize it's because like sometimes on their mobile device, they're not
They
seeing
go,
the note. They're just like, oh yeah, accept the connection. So then I have to like re-say what I said. They're not like ignoring the note. They just didn't really see it. They saw the connection and they
Yep.
just connected.
That is exactly right.
They don't see the.
They don't
No.
always see the note.
No.
It depends on what type of device they're on. They might just get a notification that says, you know, Rod Martinez has accepted, has requested your connection, and they'll just hit accept, and then they won't read the note. They won't even see the note unless they dig deeper, which they're not going to. So
So-
you might have to restate it.
So you send them in a message, exactly like she says. So you say, hey, what's his name? Dan, it's great to connect with you. This is what I do. And this is like Brett sent me an invitation to connect, and I will respond to Brett. I'm going to reveal what I do, Brett. I say, hi, Brett, it's great to connect with you. And then I'll say, I hope you enjoyed the meeting, or I'll say, you could restate your question, just like Kim said.
But it's not recorded in history, meaning you say something in the,
It is recorded in
it
history.
is, so he or she can see it.
Yes,
If.
if they go back into messaging.
Okay, but it's not all.
But they probably
not
won't.
see,
Right, but
They-
if you do send a message, then they'll see the
Right.
message thread.
Right, right.
Like, oh, he said this when he requested to connect.
Cause I usually jump to the next conversation from what I said. I just continue.
And this is an important reason why you want to have a tracking system of some kind. I've got one somewhere. And all, what it says is set date, the name of the person, the date you sent the invitation, the date they accepted, your first, second, third, fourth emails to them, or email, I use that term instead of message. But because if you sent the invitation and they accepted, then you want to go back and ask the question again, see if you can generate it. They might not respond. They might never respond. They might just not, like I'm way behind on my messaging. Look I got 7.
Yeah.
I'm way behind.
Do you know,
So,
in a situation like this, the notification that they receive, because you'll get an email notification of, so Dan's trying to connect.
That's correct, yeah.
Will they get 2 notifications that Dan's trying to connect and sent you a message, or or
this is what it looks like. Let's see.
does
where's the
anybody know
people?
that, the answer to that?
It looks, let's see. I'm gonna view all, and I'm gonna go find the people. So here is, like, this person accepted my invitation to connect. And if I went in and looked at it, yeah, they would Let me just see here. Where is it? Where is the people? Oh, so anyway, this is an invitation that I got. Let's see, here's Andrew Recker. I got this invitation.
That's me.
Okay, oh, that's Andrew. Hey,
This
how are
is
you,
you?
Andrew? So if he put in a message, did you put in a message?
I can't, I didn't.
I did not.
Okay,
Just the-
then
I did that at the beginning of
I think
this.
Michelle might-
Oh, you did.
Michelle?
Yeah, she's on there too.
She's on there
Just
too.
put it on,
Okay,
so that
cool.
we could see.
Oh,
the
there's
note.
Michelle. Did you, okay, there's Michelle and she, if I say accept, let's see, do this. Michelle, I'm gonna go, there it is. There's the message from Michelle. Lovely. Lovely, Michelle. Thank you. And she says, I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation. And then, so what I'll do is I'll say, it's great to connect with you, but if I accepted the invitation, it would be up here. It's up here in the messaging somewhere. It's up here in messaging. That's where it is. There's Michelle's message.
Right.
Yep.
yeah.
And so if I were to be, see, this is what it looks like when someone sends an in-mail, and that's almost certainly,
An ad. of
yeah,
some
it's some sort of somebody trying to sell me something. Proven ways to increase my revenue, my monthly income from LinkedIn, 2 to 3, that comes
Oh, I
all the time.
specialize in working with
Isn't that
coaches.
great? Yeah. Yeah, and so, and this is a client I'm working with, and so, this is
Okay.
what the messages look like.
Yeah, on the email notification that I get.
Yeah.
The title is I want to connect, and that will be the same. If I just sent a connection solo, alone, versus if I send a connection and a message. So I guess that kind of answers my question of,
Okay.
if I send him a message, like, what kind of notification will he get? It's just, I want to connect.
Right, it's a
And some-
note,
yeah.
it's really, you're not sending a message, you're adding a note to your connection request.
Right,
Mhm.
So maybe putting it in that perspective will help you. So
Yeah.
it'll say the same thing, it's just, it has a note or it doesn't.
whereas current connections, the email notification that you get
It's different.
is, so-and-so sent you the message.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
So-and-so sent you a message. It just says that, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, but hey, yeah, so well, actually, we're pretty well done. One of the things that Kim wanted me to look at today was job alerts.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanna make sure people knew that
So
we didn't.
you see up here, we're back on my homepage. It really helps your profile visibility if you see something that's interesting like this, like John sent, who I know very well, and I could click like. Now, if I see a Hudson post, I'll click like, or I might make a comment, Anyway, I distracted myself there by John's photo. See up here, it says home, my network, jobs, messaging, notifications. Under jobs, if I click on jobs, over here in this left panel, it says job alerts. Okay, so what this does, LinkedIn is thinking about you all the time, trying to be helpful. And they think that I would be interested in these jobs. And actually, I'm not interested in that. But the other day I did see one that was kind of interesting. So how does that get set up? Under job alerts. If you say, I'm going to search for a job, all right? What if I say, I'm going to search for a job as a, let's see. I'm going to search for a job as a VP of Human Resources, just because I would die before I had to take that job again, and then you can put down the location, and then you could create an alert for that, all right? And then, so if you search for jobs, it will know that that's what you're looking for, and it will create an alert for you. So, for example, here's a COO job, Habitat for Humanity. Hey, we have somebody who's interested in Habitat. Who is that? Was that Michelle? Who is
Right.
that?
I think.
No, or Michelle.
No.
Sorry, I'm muted. Becky, I actually work for
Oh,
Habitat.
Becky, she
Becky.
works there now.
Becky works there now.
Yep.
All right, so Habitat. This one's for Habitat in Colorado.
But Brett was in, Yeah.
Brett's interested in that
Right.
too. This one happens to be in Colorado because I didn't do that. But if you were to do this, you would be, you have to search for a job first before you can create the alert, all right? Now, I have it clicked here on so that LinkedIn will pick the jobs that it thinks that I'll be interested in. And I think that's good enough. My daughter, she was looking for a job and the jobs that were coming in were not exactly right. And so what we had to do was go back into her profile and fix her keywords so that she is now getting jobs that are absolutely spot on in a very tight specialty. So it has to do with the keywords, but I actually kind of like the jobs that they send me. I actually look at these. They sure get that I'm a coach, that this is kind of what I do for a living. There was a real interesting one as a resume writer recently, and that was interesting. Hey, I think that my husband will kill me, but here, hey, somebody wants a volunteer short story writer. These can be, see, look at for this marketing manager, 3 Northwestern alumni work there.
Oh,
See,
cool.
that is something I could say, hey, go
You could
Wildcats.
get that job in a second.
Sure. But this is how those alerts work, right? Is that you have to start looking at jobs. And once you start looking for jobs, they will know better what you want. Are there any questions?
Does it make sense to go into ideal job descriptions and pull out like different keywords and try to
Yes.
flash them on your?
That is exactly what the ideal job exercises that I do is for. If you look at a bunch of jobs that my standard is, it has to be so wonderful. You would move to Alaska to take it. That's how wonderful it has to be, because maybe you just don't want to go to Alaska. It has to be that good. It's like, well, even though it's in Alaska, I'd like this job. So you find 3 or 4 of those, start reading them in detail, and you can make a list of what words are coming up regularly in those job postings. And then that's how you tailor your profile to make sure that they know that you're the right person.
Ooh, it looks like Nick Penman has his virtual hand up.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Hello. So I got a couple of questions. One
Yes, sir.
thing, someone had mentioned that your analytics will increase the more frequently you make changes to your profile. Is that true?
Yes,
You
that
know?
is true. Yes. I every so often go into my profile and just tweak it a little just for the heck of it. And it helps your analytics. Also, you could do the same thing with liking something, making a post, making a comment on a post. All of those things will increase your visibility. Yes, absolutely. Yes, sir. Mhm.
And I guess my other question is, one of the problems I've run into doing this is that I will reach out to people, and evidently I'm finding a lot of the people that are hardly on their LinkedIn.
Mhm.
So how does one, I guess, get around that? Because some of these people have 500 plus connections still, but they're not getting
Yeah.
back to me.
Yeah, I would, if they, are you sending an interesting question in your invitation to connect? I know we've talked about that before. Is that what you're doing?
So I'm kind of like, because a lot of their profiles don't have a whole lot of extra stuff to it. So I'm just trying to say, look, I'm trying to find out more information. I'm curious
Okay.
about X, Y, and Z.
So
Usually
you
it
can,
pertains to the job still, but
consider adjusting your question to something that's more sciencey. Like, how are you using this kind of technology these days? Or what's been the impact of artificial intelligence on the way that you do research? Something like that. Something that you think that they might be thinking about. Try that and see if you have a better result.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would, mention, I know when we were going through that exercise and you found some second degree connections so that you could request to connect.
Yep,
If you're not connected to a lot of people and you haven't joined groups, then you don't have a lot of second degree connections. You can't request to connect with people. So that's all the more reason to connect with someone like Katherine or me or Michael. The more connections
Yeah.
that you share, the more people will be your second degree connection.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
well, it's been my pleasure. I'll turn it over to Michael.
Okay, thank you very much, Katherine. As always, you do a magnificent job of beating up HR folks and sharing
I
a
like
lot
to
of,
do that.
a lot of really good
I
information.
always do, every time. I have scars.
Yeah,
I have issues.
well, but see, so we addressed the question, but Katherine, I just want you to know that even though it may not look, we picked up extra people here and they're just absolutely thrilled with your performance tonight. So, no, seriously, really great information, always is, and you're always a delight to have here. And you bring a lot of good information and clarify the mystery of LinkedIn. So that's awesome. All right, so let me move right along here. We've got some asks for you, okay? For all you job seekers. One is we'd like you to take a survey and I'm gonna put up a QR code in just a minute. So if you'll just pull your phones out and answer the survey, this helps us make sure that we screen out the HR haters from our speakers. And but we also get good feedback on what you're interested in hearing about in the future. And one of the things that we've heard consistently is we want to know more about the hidden job market. And you just heard from Katherine that 60% of the jobs don't make it out to you through postings and things like that. She just gave you the secret key to finding out about those hidden jobs. So this is, it may have sounded like a LinkedIn presentation, but it's really how to find your way into that hidden job network. So again, great information. You take advantage of it, it's going to pay off. Trust me. So take the survey. Look out for Kim's email, and then also like, comment, and share our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page, our website. We want to reach out to as many people that need assistance as possible. And by you doing that, you heard again from Katherine, the whole way LinkedIn operates. The more comments and so forth we get, the more we're able to reach out to others in need. Okay, so here's the QR code. Let me get this little deal out of the way. Go away. Oops, shoot, sorry. There we go. You got a clean shot of that. Hopefully that'll pull up on you. You've all got that. Shake your heads, yes.
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 We
So
got it.
I'm actually on my cell. I can't scan it because I'm on my cell. Do you have another link?
Susan, you're in big trouble. No, we can, we'll send it to you. We can send
Okay,
you this
thanks.
QR code.
Should I put it in chat? Would you have access to your chat?
Well, she's on it.
Yeah,
Here, you can do that? Okay, good. Well, yeah, so our maniac will help you out.
I'll try to figure it out.
All right. All right, now while you're doing that, I'm just gonna run through a couple other things. If you look at this screen, you'll see, this is what the email is gonna look like, something along this line. You'll get this from Kim. We'll have a link to the recording, a list of attendees, link to other job groups and resources, and the next steps for working with Hudson Job Search. So we have a couple of new folks here tonight. And if you're interested in working with an advisor, going through our process, there's the next steps for doing that in Kim's email. So look out for that. Now, one of the things I just want to take a second here and show you. I talked about our website having a lot of good information. A couple things here. If you look up in the top right-hand corner where this bright yellow arrow is, you see the LinkedIn logo, a Facebook logo, and a YouTube logo. That's the easiest way to get to those respective social media platforms for Hudson Job Search. You can go to those, click on that, and you'll go right to those sites. Okay, and that's where you can comment on. Another thing that I hear from a lot of people is, hey, there are different job groups. There's like 13 different ones in Northeast Ohio. And I will say that we work together, we collaborate. Our whole mission is to help folks get a job. We're not in competition with one another. If you want to come to Hudson Job Search, you want to go to Ohio Means Jobs, you want to go to North Coast, East Coast, West Coast, whatever, North Canton, you're welcome to do that. And to make it easier for you to know what's going on at these different job groups, we have this website. Instead of having to go to 13 different job groups, websites, you can go to one site, and that's here at Hudson Job Search. You look up here where I've circled in orange, there's a tab, Northeast Ohio Job Group Calendar. If you click on that, it'll pull up a listing of the different job groups and the meetings, the times, and so forth. And you can see that either in a list fashion or in a calendar fashion. And you can click on that, and it'll give you more details on what that group is doing on that particular day and that particular time. Oftentimes it'll have a link so you can click on it and just register for the meeting or find out what the topic is. But again, for your convenience, it's a one-stop shop for job search information. So please take advantage of that. That's for your benefit. And we hope you truly benefit from that. I'd like to leave with a quote of the day. And you know, the quote is, too many of us are not living our dreams because we're living our fears. And I think a lot of times with social media, particularly with LinkedIn, there's a lot of concern about, I don't know if I should do this or not. I don't, you know, I think Katherine just kind of eliminated a lot of the lack of knowledge, you know, and so get out there and try it. You're gonna do well if you go out there and try it, as opposed to being fearful of making a mistake on LinkedIn. Okay. And then finally, happy National Browns Beat the Steelers Day this Monday, September 18th, 2000.
3-7, the Steelers are ahead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Steelers scored within the first, like,
It's only the
seven
first quarter.
seconds. Yeah, so,
It's
but
not time.
yeah, there's still time. They're gonna come back, but hopefully this will turn into a positive experience for the Browns as opposed to the latter. So, but again, big thank you for everyone who's come. Again, take heed to what wisdom Katherine imparted here this evening. I think is really great. Again, we always love having her here because we always learn a lot, and we've heard her presentations before. So with that, I thank you all for coming. All the folks that are here live, if you'll help us kind of break things down, that'd be great. And you can also take home some cookies and Reese's cups, or even, what are they?
Oh, the Velveeta.
Velveeta, whatever the heck goes on. All right. All you virtual folks, have a great evening, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh, and let's see, Maria, I think I accepted your LinkedIn. If you'll reach out to me, we can talk more about a potential spot that you might want to consider. If you're still there.
Thank you so much, Katherine.
You're welcome.
That was excellent.
Thank you.
Toodles all.
You're welcome.
By the way, this is good.
Yes,
Yeah.
they don't usually.